everybody, welcome to another recap of Celebrity Apprentice. Gary Busey survives the boardroom last week. That is the time for the men's team to start to drink heavily because it's going to be a rough task this week with Gary. Alright, so John Rich basically says to Gary, either you're crazy or a saboteur, and Gary's like, I'm not crazy and I'm not a saboteur. And then he goes into this whole long monologue with the camera about how he is so smart and he doesn't want anybody to know it and blah blah blah. I think everybody's crazy. I don't know. LaToya gets to deliver her checks. She had the 3. Remember, she won the best hat, and then the two $20,000 checks from last week's task. That was very nice. This week the task is for Omaha Steaks, and they need to write, produce, and star in a live cooking demo. So they're going to have to make 3 meals up, and they're going to have to be occasion specific, and they're going to have to make up a Omaha Steaks variety pack and name it, and it has to be featured prominently in their presentation. So the PMs are Hope and Gary Busey. OMG. That should just be like after Gary's name, OMG. Alright, so the men, Gary Busey tells Meatloaf that he's going to be the chef, and Meatloaf does not cook. Gary kind of loses his mind with the executives. He's like asking all these bizarre questions, not staying on task, not asking like questions that really mean something. And then he decides that one of the stories is Father's Day kite gift for the dad. And it's just, it doesn't make any sense, and it's not going anywhere, and it was just really bizarre. So Gary, he ends up talking to customer service because John Rich dialed it up for him, and he's talking to them like they work for the show. They don't know Gary from Adam. It was just like, it was so sad. I feel bad for Gary, but I don't feel bad for Gary. He wanted to put multi-flavored steaks in the variety pack. They don't make those, Gary. They don't have those things. So Meat comes up with the idea that he wants to call it the Ultimate Celebration Pack, which was probably a good idea. And Ivanka comes to check in on them, and she finds out that it's a total train wreck and they want to be saved from Gary. Lil Jon, his only task basically this whole time was to cut up paper for a raffle at the end of the presentation so that people from the audience can come and eat with the celebs. Well, to eat. The celebrities didn't eat it. It was just the people in the audience. So on the ladies' team, Star pretty much takes over as usual because she's got to be in control. She's got to control everything. And the ladies decide that they're going to be serving up seafood, steak, and a burger. But not right away. It was seafood, steak, and steak. And they changed LaToya's steak last minute to burger. And she's just a total train wreck because she doesn't know how to cook anything. She's always had chefs when she was growing up, and the only thing I've ever actually cooked was an egg. Come on, really? Star ends up doing the graphics, as she always does, which is probably a good thing because she's really good at them. And the theme is, well, the slogan that they come up with, time to discover what delicious really is. Alright, a few little gaffes this week. Gary Busey called John Rich boy, and that was pretty bad. He apologizes after John Rich calls him out on it the next day, but John Rich does not accept Gary Busey's apology. During the pre-presentation, LaToya's burgers caught on fire, and she needs to be loud. She needs to quit the baby voice. I don't know if it's put on or if that's her actual voice, but I wouldn't be surprised if she talked, you know, really deep, or, you know, it'd be pretty funny if she did, right? And Gary had a tough time making up the variety pack. He had this black tissue paper that he was trying to line the Omaha steak boxes with, and it wasn't cooperating with him. And I don't really think he should have been wasting his time lining a box with black tissue paper. So for the presentations, the ladies went first. They didn't actually really cook anything except for Nene during the presentation, and Nene did the ultimate no-no in branding land. She referred to the product as Omaha and not Omaha Steaks. The execs were pretty upset about that. Their package was Poker Night, and it included the best of all three of the meals. And they were pretty smart because they had aprons for everyone with the brand name on them at the end of the presentation. The men, I gotta say, Meatloaf did a fantastic job as cook. He was such a natural. I think Gary really stepped in poo by saying that he should be the chef because he didn't know that was going to happen. Gary's stories during the presentation were extremely bizarre, and they went on forever. They were never ending. The name of their variety pack was the Ultimate Celebration Pack, like I said before, and the audience coming up at the end was a little bit awkward. And I don't think the execs were a big fan of it, and I'm not so sure the audience was a big fan of it either. So in the boardroom, the men pretty much throw Gary under the bus immediately. They say that they like him, but he's crazy. They can't work with him. Meatloaf was very upset. He could barely say, he could barely put a sentence together. They had to relive the kite story, which was so bizarre. And then the ladies' team, it was a total love fest, except for Nene and baby voice, LaToya. It was a shame. But I was really very surprised that the ladies actually won. I mean, despite Gary's crazy stories, I really liked Meat's cooking demonstrations. I thought he did a really good job, and I really was not too enthralled by the ladies' presentation. I mean, I thought it was kind of lacking, let's say, in substance. Nene's upset though. When they went back to the suite, she didn't want to celebrate with anybody because she is not a phony. And everybody, is kind of PO'd at her. Well, kind of. I don't know. The men's team, back in the boardroom, Meatloaf's pissed. There was no rehearsal. John Rich is not Gary's boy. Duh. So Trump, he pretty much cuts to the chase on this one. He says Gary's totally messed up. I mean, that's a fact. But you gotta love somebody who's messed up because it's fun to have them around. Not if you're on the men's team. So pretty much it was a no-brainer. He's got to fire Gary. So Gary was fired. Next time, the ladies' team, it's their turn. They implode. Till next time, much love.